Hi everyone, welcome to my very first get ready with me makeup video. I intended for this to be a tutorial, but because it's my first, it's really bad. But you know, I just thought you could sit through it with me, have a coffee and pretend like we're really good friends. Why did I say that? But anyway, yeah, so this is a look that I put together with a few products that I have, and it was a last minute thing, and you know, I'm rushing, and so this is kind of the makeup I do when I don't have a lot of time and I have to work with what I've got, which is a limited palette. So I hope you enjoy this, and if not, well, I'll still put crappy shit out because I like to do that. Have a nice day. Bye. My name is Sunita, and today I just thought I would go through a very simple makeup routine when I'm about to rush and I didn't really plan what I wanted to do, using what I have around in my office. So I'm just about to go out for a nice dinner with my husband, and because we were in a rush, I didn't actually have time to put a full face on. So I'm just gonna go straight into it using mostly drugstore makeup. I'm gonna start with foundation first, and I'm using the Maybelline 24-hour foundation, which just came into Singapore. I'm so glad it's finally come. I've heard rave reviews. I'm just gonna use a dampened beauty blender. I like to pack it on because I do have very patchy skin. I've already put some here. I'm using about half a pump, and I'm just going to really push it in and work this through in thin layers. Now, my first impressions on this are actually very positive. I do like full coverage foundations only because it covers a lot of my pigmentation and acne scar, but what I don't like is how heavy a lot of them feel. And what is amazing I feel about this one is that it gives full coverage, but it feels so light. I don't feel like I'm wearing a mask on my skin. And what's amazing is the first layer already covers up quite a bit. So I like to work my foundation in layers. Sometimes layered it on thick can give me like a very mask-like feel. Now I do go over my eyebrows and also over my under eyes. Technically, you're not meant to do that, I feel, because it builds product up, especially over this area. But like I said, this is how I do it on the fly when I'm in a rush and when I don't really care too much. So the color that I'm using is 310 Sun Beige. This foundation does oxidize. So if you wanted to try it on your shade, I would actually suggest putting it on your face, taking a walk, and then seeing how it looks like after an hour of walking. Okay, so foundation's done. Really pleased with this. It's not matte, it's kind of dewy. So now that I've done my base, I'm going to go into my concealer. As you can tell, I have quite sunken eye bags, and I have a lot of blue veins as well. So my favorite concealer of the moment is the NARS Soft Matte, and this is in the color medium 2 Ginger. I usually like using my fingertips because the warmth of it blends it in, but I have nails today, and so I'm just going to use my favorite concealer brush. This is the Pro Airbrush concealer from Sephora. So I'm just dabbing it in, and I'm lightly pressing just to distribute the product. I don't know if any of you have the same problem that I do, but I actually have tiny fine hairs that grow right here in my inner duct, and they grow quite long. And you know what's unfortunate? It makes me look like I have a ton of eye shit and that I'm dirty. I don't. So what I do sometimes is I actually pluck them. When I told this to some of my friends, they were like, "You bitch. You shouldn't be complaining, you're so lucky that you have it." But I'm like, well, that's like being happy that you have hairs in places that make you look dirty. So I'm just going in to my other eye. So like I said, I like working on my makeup in layers. I put a really thin layer. So I do want a highlighted look today, and I'm just pulling it all the way out to my cheekbone and in a somewhat, well, not very precise triangular shape. Then I use my finger to kind of melt it into the foundation that I put before, because I don't want distinct lines. And I also go into that hairy eye, inner eye area. So like I said, this is a very fast routine. If I was doing my makeup properly, I would actually color correct amongst other things and actually use an under eye primer. So bear in mind, this is a quick, on the fly makeup tutorial. So yesterday I met one of my really good friends and she asked me how long it takes to do my makeup, and I said, well, usually an hour, but yesterday it took me 20 minutes because I was rushing again. And so a lot of people have asked me how I do my makeup, and so this is what I do. Now if you notice, I'm actually using my finger to kind of bring and blend the concealer to the sides of my nose, and that's because I'm going to be contouring my nose to make it slimmer, and this is part of that. So whatever's left on the brush, I'm actually going to just swipe it down the length of my nose and on the arches of my eyebrows, and just blend it with my finger and on my chin, and of course around the red areas of my nose and just down the center of my cupid's bow. Now that I'm done, I am going to set my under eye. I usually use Laura Mercier, but again, I was in a rush, so I do carry this from my makeup kit for touch-ups. And so this is a loose powder that I got from Kryolan, and I depotted it into a smaller one. So I've just put my damn beauty blender, I've dipped it into that powder, and I'm just setting my eye under area. I am not baking, I'm just setting this so that it doesn't crease. Now I didn't use any primer today, like I said, because I am on the run, and I'm just using what I have with me in my emergency makeup pouch. Do any of you have an emergency like stash, makeup stash that you keep in your office or in your handbag just in case? Like, I am the only one I know that's really extra. Like, I keep stuff that girls would normally use on a full face, like to a wedding, I think. At least the girls I know, because I can get pretty overboard because I do love my makeup. So now I'm going to go into my contour. So believe it or not, if I do have extra time, I do use a cream contour. If I'm really rushed, I just use a powder contour, but I love my contour. I want the J.Lo Vogue kind of chiseled jaw, but clearly it's very hard to look like her, so I can only achieve something close to it by using contour. And this is one of my favorite contouring sticks. It's the Fenty Beauty Matchsticks in Truffle. So I often just go quite high because I do like the chiseled look. Now she goes down hollow this way, but I'm not going to do that because I can look pretty cray-cray. I don't have the brushes that I normally use for this, so I'm just going to use my beauty blender. So it's about being creative, and I think that's what I like the beauty blender most for, is that it can be used, it's so versatile. Like, you can use it to set with dry powder, you can use it to blend out contour, and of course you can use it to apply your foundation. I think if there's one thing I'd bring on an island with me for, you know, my makeup, and I couldn't choose anything else, it would just be the beauty blender. So yes, I don't, one thing about this Fenty Beauty stick is that you must work quite quickly. If not, you kind of have to put a whole lot of elbow grease into it. I forgot how much this dries. It's like, it sets quite fast. I've also put my contour right in here because I do want to kind of hollow out my eye to give it the impression of something a bit deeper set. Now, if it seems like I'm really not being thorough and precise with my makeup, it's because this is how I do it when I'm rushing. I do have to be ready soon. Using my finger to kind of blend those lines so that it doesn't look like I, you know. Now it looks shiny at the moment, so we're gonna fix that with powder. So I pretty much go into it with my Hoola bronzer, which I love. I do like the brush that comes with it. You know, I think it fits contouring purposes, so I just put it on the edge and I blend it out and upwards. So when it's more saturated, I actually start here, bring it down and up, and then I just blend that. I love makeup companies that add brushes in their items. It just makes it easier when you're either traveling or having to rush your makeup and having to put things on in the car. So I'm going into the jawline as well. I haven't got the chiseled face yet, the amount that I want it to be. And just blending it. I'm going to go into my blusher, which I love. I just got this today because it was a buy two get one free kind of day. You know, this blusher, this line of blushers is something that I love more than any of my other blushes that I own, more than MAC. I now today officially have all 4 colors from this collection. It is so pigmented and it lasts really long. Yeah, I find myself reaching for this and I'm just opening the packet. It's the Maybelline Master Flash Creator. Have any of you tried this? I swear by it. And you have to be very light-handed because a little goes a long way. This color is called Next to Nude. It is nicely packaged. It also does come with a mirror and a cover. No brush, but hey. This is my favorite brush to use blusher with, and it's from Catrice. It was like $5. I'm just gonna dab it, that's it. And see how much color it's picked up. And I'm just gonna dab it and put it here. I wanna look young and youthful, so I'm gonna emphasize, you know, the rosiness, apparent rosiness and plumpness of my face. Cheeks, rather. Okay. I do love this color. It's it looks like, I don't know how well this camera is picking it up, but it looks like I've got a flush from running up and down the stairs. And someone who's unfit, but never mind. So I do blend it out a lot because this is so pigmented, right? Just adding a bit more to match my orange dress. If I was going out to a proper event, I would cover this up with foundation and set that, but it's just dinner today, nothing fancy. So now I've got my blusher and I've got everything. The most important thing is highlighter. Now, because I'm oily skin, I have to be very careful about how I highlight. Otherwise, I look like a grease pan that could fry your eggs. So one of my all-time favorites is the Becca highlighter, and this is in the shade Moonstone. This is in the travel size. I like buying travel size products because it's so much easier to travel with them and bring it in my purse. Look at that. I forgot to bring a highlighting brush. I'll have to make do with something else. I'm just using this brush that my husband got me as a surprise from iHerb, Madre Labs. And I'm just gonna put it here. And I love the gleam that it gives. And I think it's because we live in such a humid country, it doesn't last on my skin as long as it does on other YouTubers that I see. But it shines brighter than my future looks like it should be. So I also am going to put a little bit just down here. And ooh, makes me look like I have a sweaty mustache, which I do anyway, but okay. So now that I've done that, I'm also going to put some of this highlighter in my inner corner. I want to glow. And some of the highest points of my eye. So I'm going to move on to my eyebrows now. When I don't have time, I really don't feel like fussing about with a pencil because I would like more precision. So whenever I'm in a rush, this is my all-time favorite product to use. It is from Australis. It's called Tint My Brows, and it's a brow tint. I love it because it's like a colored gel and it keeps my hairs in place and it colors it in. They've recently formulated the spoolie so that it's small and it's great. So I just go in here like this and push it up and it adds the slightest bit of color. This has lasted me for 2 months and there's a shit ton left. Okay, so this gel does dry down quite a bit. If you put too much, it can look crusty and flaky, like now. So I've put on way too much because I wanted to show you how the product looked like. I'm just gonna dab this off. I wish I could carry off the really nice thick brow look that a lot of younger girls have. I just look fierce, man. Like, I look like I'm gonna shout at someone's kid on the street who's misbehaving like an auntie and tell them off because I'm grumpy and old. Yeah, no. So I try to stay away from thicker eyebrows, even though that's the way I wish my brows looked. That's it. That's how I do my brows when I'm in a rush. Now I'm just gonna dab it because I did put too much of the gel. I don't want to look fierce, so I'm gonna go into the eye makeup right now. One of my favorite eye primers is the Essence I Love Stage eyeshadow base. I think this works as well as my high-end favorite, which is the MAC paint pot in soft ochre. So just use the one and just touch that. This I find dries down beautifully and makes all my eyeshadows look really, really nice. So you would have noticed that I put this over the highlighter that I had put on earlier. Now I know that this would dull down the shine, but that's because I don't want to be like a glitter bomb. If you want your highlight to look more obvious, obviously, then put on the eyeshadow base and then put on that highlighter. I just like a little bit of a sheen to come through. So yeah, I just used my fingers there. I'm now gonna go and do my eyeshadow, my favorite. And again, I just have this because it's useful. It's called the Nudes by Maybelline. This was given to me by my mom, who didn't like it. I actually like it. I think it's pretty decent. So I'm just gonna go into the lightest tone, dab some off, and use it as my use this as my underbrow highlight. And then I'm going to go in with this loose brush with like a beige shade and go in with this kind of light brown color and just sweep it all over my eyelid. Okay. And then I'm going to deepen the crease a little bit, and I will probably go in with, I think, this taupe, and just dab and, you know. So I have eyes that can look really bad if the makeup is done, I guess, in a very different way to how I've learned to do it. I've gone for makeup trials and oh my god, like, it's not that the makeup artists were bad, it's just from the side I have a very flat lid, nothing sunken, so I have to create the appearance of like a sunken lid to give it depth. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in with this brown and then touch a bit of the black, so I have a mix, and dab this on my outer corner to kind of give that smoky edge. In twice and dab. Always be consistent with the amount of dabs you put in your palette, otherwise it's hard to even it out. At least that's what I find. I'd rather try to even it out at the start than to correct a mistake later. I'm just using my finger to kind of rub away. There's nothing precise about what I'm doing today. Just sharing how I do my makeup. Do not recommend you be as messy as me. Okay, I would like to have a wash of gold here to make that pop. So using my favorite MAC shader brush and slightly patting it on, going in for some more, patting it on again and again. So I guess, you know, this palette is not as pigmented as some higher end ones, but why I like this, carrying this around, is because it can give me something simple without worrying about blending something pigmented. Now, I have lost some of the highlight that I wanted earlier, so I'm just going to go in with the brush that was included. Use the tip of this, go into the silvery gold color, and just touch my inner corner of my eyelid, just to return some of that shine, and also here. I also do like to go in and shadow this part with the medium shade, just to give it some depth. Well, it depends on what look I'm going for. Sometimes I like a clean look, so I don't actually put that in. Just checking myself in my mirror. So I'm gonna just blend out the edges so that it's a bit more seamless. I'll go in with the color I started with and just wash right over that so everything blends together and doesn't look like I have a nasty rainbow on my eye. There we go. Okay, we're done with the eyes. Okay, I'm now gonna go and do my eyeliner and eyelashes. So I'm gonna start with what do you call that, tight lining my eye, and this is one of my favorite pencils. I've not been able to find it anywhere else in Singapore because I got this duty free at the airport. It's called Silkissime, and it's in black. I think it's by L'Oreal, yes. And I'm just gonna lift my eyelid and run this kohl pencil on the underside of my lids. You know, it doesn't matter how many years I've done this for, it always makes me tear. I do feel that it makes my look a lot more complete than if I don't do that. But you know, whatever floats your boat. Now my favorite eyeliner. I love this Kat Von D tattoo liner. It stays on all the time, and it's so thin and fine. So I'm just gonna do what I've always done since I was 14 years old, and that is, you know, the cat flick. I always like to start with the swoop up on both sides because it drives me nuts if I can't even it out. And then I go and create the flick on top. And then I just sweep the brush over the lid. So a lot of how I do my eyeliner depends on what I want to look like. Generally, thicker eyeliners kind of swallow my eyes up, and thinner ones make me look like I have googly eyes. So it's about getting it right, and also because I have more eyelid space on one eye than the other, I have to kind of even it out. And in the process of doing so, you know how when you try even one and then even that, then you just get a black eye. You look like a panda bear. So I guess when I'm rushing and doing my makeup, this is something I still kind of have to take my time with. I do love going to the edge, but as you can tell, there's some bleeding that's happened over here. It will have to do. I used to use winged eyeliner every day to school, but because I used to wear glasses, the teachers wouldn't catch me. My husband, when he first saw me on the bus when I was 16, thought I had the most beautiful eyes he'd ever seen, but he didn't know it's all makeup. Haha. Anyway, so for those of you who are wondering, I do have remnants of eyelash extensions that I put in over almost 2 months ago. I just use mascara over them. This mascara is unbelievable. It's the Benefit Bad Girl Bang. Unfreaking believable. Before this, my favorite mascara was the L'Oreal Voluminous, which they don't sell in Singapore. They've only just started selling the L'Oreal Lash Paradise like last month, I think. But before that, I had to get mine from the US. But holy cow, this takes lashes to a whole other level. Do any of you guys ever oscillate between like utter conscientiousness when it comes to your face, like your hair, your nails, and then months where you can't be asked and you're just a slob and leave things on for longer than they should. Well, I'm in that lazy phase now. I have re-glued this nail on so many times, it's not funny. You know what sucks? I look so, well, much worse in this camera than I do in the mirror. It might be psychological, right? It's like, so now we're gonna go on to my lips. And I tried this color today and I loved it. It was love at first swipe. And this is the Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink. I have a lot of Maybelline items that I'm using today, so none of this is sponsored. I just like myself good drugstore deals. I am such a sucker like for makeup that and getting a good deal, you know. I mean, who doesn't like a good deal? It's made in the USA. Wow, don't see that much anymore, do you? Okay, so I tried this earlier and it really stayed. Look at this gorgeous color. Almost matches my dress. It smells like chocolate and vanilla. Oh, nice. I like the tip. I mean, this is the first time I'm like using it with the applicator. It's very precise. Very creamy. Smells like a dessert. I want to lick. I'm just gonna go in with another thin layer. So I look really oily in this video. Geez, how much powdering do YouTubers have to do to look flawless like they do? I'm just gonna, well, let's see what I can do. I'm gonna go in with my very favorite setting powder brush, and this is by Real Techniques. I think I could not do like flawless makeup without this, apart from this beauty blender. I'm just gonna go in with my other holy grail item from MAC. It's the blot powder and it's pressed, and I'm just gonna go over it and see, you know, it's gonna be so interesting to see what this video catches. I'll do half the face. Gosh. Okay, down the center of the nose, my oily nose. Chin. Inner corner. Yeah, I think we're good. This is my final makeup look that I've done, and I hope you've enjoyed the process. So it's been about 4 or 5 hours since I put on the foundation, and this is how it looks like. As you can tell, my T-zone has oiled up. But you know what? It's held up pretty well, except for this area. But I'm very happy and impressed with this, so I think I'm going to be using this a whole lot more. She approves. Good night. Bye.